Welcome to Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'm your community manager, Kurdovan, and I'm really here after a pretty long couple of weeks to give you a status update on how things are going and do a little questing inside of the game. The main thing I wanted to answer is we have breaking news. That's the other reason I'm a few minutes late, is we have just now enabled unpacking on the 64-bit game worlds. So both the unpacking command and the transfer list command should now be available on all of the 64-bit game worlds. And the other thing that we're doing right now is we're continuing to investigate the issue with guild portals. There's an issue right now that we do think we have a general sense of what's happening here, but a restart, for example, isn't going to fix it, so we need to do a little more work on it, where you can get yourself in a state where you can't activate through a guild portal, whether it's in the harbor or the market or what have you. Guild beacons will work, but guild portals will not. That also affects the one in the snapping line in that'll both send you to your airship in addition to gatekeepers, for example. And we're going to be working on correcting that as soon as we can. That should be sometime next week that one gets corrected. But until then, we have a weekend here, do we not? So what we're going to do about that one for this Friday is we have created a coupon code. The coupon code is Get Me There. Get Me There. And it's 4 per account, and it'll get you a 5-stack of Guild Airship beacons, each one. So you can have up to 20. And hopefully that'll be enough to get you through the weekend here. And just that's open to everyone. So Get Me There through Tuesday, and you could use that to get airship beacons, up to 20 of them, because the beacons are still going to work. But in the meantime, we're working on that. Now, the cause of that issue is the same cause why you were seeing some people's pets hanging around at the entrances or exits to places. Those seem to be the ones that are granted by enhancement trees specifically. So say the pseudo dragon. I'm not going to try the list, but the ones that are granted through enhancement trees, the ones that are in falconry, for example, that kind of thing. And they're the ones that are being stuck behind. Now, thankfully, they have a minimal impact on the game performance, but it's a visual issue that we're aware of. And ultimately, the cause of that issue is the same as the cause of this airship portal thing that we are working to address. So that's where we are on this Friday about that. The next big question is when on transfers. We're hoping to be able to re-enable transfers next week, and we're going to have timing on that as soon as we can. We want to get through the weekend with as stable a game world as we can, and then we'll turn on transfers. The other piece is that when we turn on transfers, sometime around that time, we will have more information on something that some people might have seen this week. ... So what do we do this week? We made some changes on Tuesday that involved Thrain. This was specifically about managing server resources. It was really various settings inside of the game environment itself. However, we found right away that it did make a significant improvement. We know that there is still lag, and we know that we still have work to do, but the tools we're using to measure things showed a significant improvement. It removes a pile of junk. So we brought the rest of the game worlds, 64-bit game worlds, down later this week. We deployed that same setting fix to that. And so that's where we are heading into this Friday. We've done some work that we have seen measurable improvement in. Yet, we also have this issue just discussed with, say, airship portals and things like that. So we clearly know we have additional work to do. But it did make a measurable difference in our logs. So we're expecting overall to have a better weekend this weekend than last weekend. We've also identified some things that are contributing to poor game performance to take a look at. We have some more things to target. That work is ongoing. And so we'll be deploying that work as soon as we can as well. So we have made progress over this week compared to where we were a week ago, have we not? But I recognize that last weekend in particular was a pretty rough weekend on many of the 64-bit game worlds, and it led us to take various actions that have kept folks like myself up pretty much since I left early on Thursday morning to get on a plane to go to Gen Con. And we have been working very hard this week. We've been putting in some long hours, and we have been able to make measurable improvement by this Friday. We have some good reactions to the current issues in place heading into the weekend, and we are in a good place this weekend to be able to measure with good data whatever ends up happening. Hopefully, it'll show that things were not as bad as last weekend, but we'll know either way because we'll have that information. And so that's where we sit on this Friday in terms of, I think, the biggest hot burning issues. And boy, have we had some, have we not? It has been a very busy week. We are, of course, in the middle of transfers as well, and so we do want to get those transfers re-enabled as quickly as we can. We know that we have an August 31st deadline to be able to get your work done, and we want you to be able to get that work done. That's also part of the reason we updated unpacking here today ahead of the weekend, because we know that there are a bunch of guilds that want to unpack, and they can't because their guild leader can't unpack. Just one of a whole bunch of cases like that. And so we do have unpacking available. Now, you might ask, well, if unpacking is supposed to be bad for game performance, and we're trying to have a weekend without bad game performance, why would we put unpacking back on? Fair. Here's what we found is that while it does contribute, we're able to measure it. We know what it is. So we don't have to, we can isolate that part out essentially. Meanwhile, we do allow people to get done what they really want to get done, which is unpack their guilds, get their guilds in particular set up, but also just personal characters that have transferred over that they need to unpack for various reasons. So I think that has brought us up on the latest. We do have a 5% treasure hunter boost going through August 10th. And then we've got some good sales happening as well. Our sales, we do have Otto's boxes back. This is the final weekend for that. Those have been around for a little bit now. But that goes through the 12th. And then this weekend, we're doing a double bonus points sale as well. And that is through August 11th. So that's a hidden game. I think the only other thing I'd say is just thank you. If you attended the Gen Con meetup, it was a full house. We were slightly over capacity and everything went great. Punch Bowl Social right in downtown Indy was very welcoming and did an excellent job. The food was good. The space was awesome. All sorts of people showed up. We had a full house. We gave out all sorts of cool swag. We had some posters, some older t-shirts and things. We were able to give out cool DDO pins. And just really a good time was had by everyone, despite the fact that we were, recognizably in a pretty difficult position with game performance. And we did talk to people at the meetup about it. People ask us about whatever's on their mind, and clearly that was on everyone's mind on Friday. Oops. All right, well, let me do the cheap route for now. Let me get out of this. That's what I get for not paying enough attention. So that well, let me not. Give me just a second, people. Give me a second. Let me try to take care of some problems here real quick. There we go. All right. Now you. All right. There we go. That's a little harder than I was expecting. Okay, anyway, where was I? So it was just really a busy weekend for everybody. And we, for example, because I know, Severlin was with Tolero and myself there, so we were able to, frankly, meet in person to discuss what we were seeing in real time in the Discord and what have you. All right, let me get my cleric up. There we go. The other two can wait. I don't need to worry about them so much. They will just die again. My goal was actually to play a, quote, easy quest that I could just sort of go on autopilot on, so it wouldn't just be me staring at a screen, because when I look at some of these longer live streams where I'm just... It's a little hard to an hour of that, and I recognize that. So I wanted to actually quest. This is what I get. I went in on Reaper 1 just because that's what I've been running on this character of late is Reaper 1 difficulty stuff. As I'm just leveling up, following a life. I went through Saltmarsh and got the Saltmarsh saga done last night. And I'm currently level 7, just starting my level 7 journey. Alright, so let me... my point is I wanted to make sure I had time to go through chat. So let me really just start at the top here and see what we have for questions, what I can answer while I do some questing. I have been playing basically at least an hour and a half or so every night. And the reason for that is I've wanted to make sure that I knew what was happening, say, on Threin in real time during the evening and such. So I've been able to just do some general questing and kind of keep on top of it myself a bit. There we go. Oh, I actually have a rush attack that I think I spec'd. I should probably get that out. I think it's the plus 20% damage one from Dragon Lord. That might come in handy here. I can practice that one up a bit. I do. I've got the... Oh, actually I have Draconic Roar as well. I keep forgetting about that one. That will go in place in my weapon slot. Oh, I've got Might and... Yeah, Might and Order's already there. Oh no, maybe I didn't get it yet. Okay, well that's fine. I've got Dragon's Roar anyway.
Yar's orders say he's to sail on Stormreach.
Okay, so anyway, my point is that I've been seeing the game performance reports essentially in real time in the evening. I've been hanging out on the Discord, I've been in-game seeing world chat, and just experiencing it in some cases myself as well. What I can tell you is that what I saw when because I got back, I guess it was about 1:30 in the morning on Monday, and that was from the trip to Indianapolis. And then on Tuesday night, before we were able to do some of the work we did later this week, I was running on the Game Worlds. And then I saw again what we did after Thursday when we did that work on all the Game Worlds. And so I've seen the improvement myself in real time, but I've also seen the challenges that remain in real time. However, I do know that the work we did this week has made some improvement in that I was getting a lot of rubber banding, like exceptional style rubber banding, the stuff that you all been reporting as well. But far less frequently. Significantly less frequently. I was able to really go through the whole Saltmarsh saga without anything more than one, probably, I guess it was a severe hitch, like rubber banding session. It was like 45 seconds or so. So, not nothing. But it was like one 45-second hitch. And otherwise, I was able to basically just kind of get through it myself. Now, that doesn't mean anything in terms of speaking to your experience, because me solo questing on my computer right at that moment has nothing to do with what your experience was, say, in a raid or anything like that, right? So you know, it's not over attribute here, but to the point, I was able to get things done later this week that I really was not able to do earlier in the week, and was thus able to recognize a measurable improvement.
With
So,
weapons drawn and a foul expression on his face. The hobgoblin has been hacked apart.
it was a pretty active Thursday morning, I'll tell you that much. We had a coupon code that kind of slipped its way out. That was on us, but at the same time, people were like, "Really, you called it that?" And we were like, "Well, yeah, but there's something to be said for a universally easily stated and understood coupon code in terms of actually getting people to use it." And so, yeah, it may have been somewhat obvious, but that's the point, because that actually gets people to redeem it. Nonetheless, we're going to be bringing that out really as soon as we can. And what you saw this week is, in fact, missing Artificer. Oh, we also have to change the name of it. Thank you very much. No, but the reason we would do that is because it did get some redemptions already and was not a complete list. The only way you really make that good is by offering a new code that you would overwrite the existing coupon that may have already been applied to some subset of people's accounts who found it early, which is fine. No problems with that. But it means you have to create a new code that can then overwrite it, and so we have to do that work so that we can add Artificer to it, so that we can and anything else we're going to do for when we go live, which shouldn't be too long from now. It's basically going to be as soon as we're able to get the game world stable enough to support such a thing. We do want to get it out as quickly as we can, because we know it's not just something that people might want to tell others about, but it's also going to be an important fix for people who have found themselves unable to log into a game world due to a specific favor issue. And so we know that there is urgency in getting this released. Oh, I keep forgetting to use my shout. It does actually stun the enemies, that's why it's useful. At least I found on some characters have used it. Okay, let me move on to some more questions. Can you get your last characters to transfer soon? Yes. We hope to re-enable transfers this next week, and then you'll have time to get your characters off before August 31st, at which point there'll presumably be something like a brief pause in access to the 32-bit game worlds until we're able to reopen them up as ghost worlds. And whether that pause is half a day, couple of days, we'll find out before the end of the month. But the current thinking is something like that.
Scurvy the bugbear bellows as he scents prey in the salty air.
No, so the issue that is the guild portal really has to do with one of the optimizations, honestly, that's been in place for a while in the 64-bit game worlds. And there's a property essentially getting stuck on various characters, and that property is preventing portal access. And that property will eventually sort of come off your character, but it can also reapply. And so we've had real inconsistent reports. That's why the reports are like, well, sometimes it's worked, but mostly it's not, except for when it has. And that the reason for that is because it depends whether or not this sort of behind the scenes property that should be removed from your character at this point is stuck on there. So we understand that, and we can get a fix in for that, but that's not the kind of thing that, say, a server reboot would resolve. So we're not going to take the game worlds down for everyone. It would get those pets out of the area, but they're degrading on their own after about 15 minutes or so. And it's really only the pets associated with enhancement trees that are sticking around on really between spaces. They get left behind when you teleport. All right. What will happen to, quote, stuck in transfer characters after August 31st? I can speak a little bit to our planning there. So, for one thing, the hope would be that you would no longer be stuck. And the reason for that would be either because customer support will have resolved your issue that has you stuck, or some changes that we'll be making in the coming weeks will allow that character to transfer. There's a subset of players, not a ton of players, but if you think about who the subset would fall on, certainly lots of players we care about. Not that we don't care about any of them, but let me explain. If you have a character that is particularly large in character data size, and by that I mean you've done it all, and you've done so much stuff, and you've been playing the game since 2006, for example, something like that, and you got dozens and dozens of past lives and stuff, huge banks and huge coffers and huge totals of everything. You could be failing out essentially during the transfer process because you're running into the equivalent of something like the old double login bug, where essentially it times out during a step in the process while it's trying to load the size of the character footprint. And we have a setting we can do to help alleviate folks like that, which basically means I currently can't log in, and if you change the number, I may be able to log in. But the double-edged sword on that is that it increases the time of transfer for everybody. Not just your character, but every single character that wants to transfer. And we've been working over the past couple of weeks since transfers launched to widen that number to basically allow it to be as long as it needs to be, while at the same time not causing more failures due to just, the number of people going through the process, etc. And one of the things we're going to be doing this week will be to, I believe, open that up quite significantly, because the volume of transfers has decreased significantly, not just because transfers have been off since, Friday now, but just in general. The volume of people who have transferred is quite a bit large. A bunch of people have already gotten through, so we're able to maybe do some work on that and really allow for that subset of people in that state to transfer more easily in the next week or so. A lot of the rest of it really comes down to working through individual buckets of issues through our customer service portal. There are some people, for example, who maybe have historic just data issues with their character. Maybe they came from an old Codemasters server or something like that, or there's just some specific thing going on with you. But there's a whole bunch of people who are like, say, from old worlds and that, who may fall into a bucket. There are people with some small number of various kind of ID conflicts. You know, something's not quite right with something or other. There was I believe, some period of people during the first Hardcore season, for example, who transferred off during Hardcore 1 that have subsequently found themselves in a difficult state upon subsequent character transfer. That kind of thing. And those are largely being worked through in the coming weeks through the ticketing system. So really, if you're in a pile of people who we haven't gotten to, partial pack scenarios is another good one. People who, for whatever reason, found themselves only partially packed after a character transfer or something like that. And we're just working through all those in the coming weeks as quickly as we can. All right, where'd my, I need to get my fight back. Where was I? There we are. All right. My cat is being loud because my kitty wants to go outside, I think. But that's okay. It's difficult to provide much in the way of guidance on timing of your customer support ticket, other than to say we want to get to as many of them as we can, as quickly as we can. There may be some cases where work that we will do will have a long-term impact on the ability of customer support to quickly resolve those issues. So perhaps if you're in one of those states, your ticket may end up having to wait until we get there. But for the most part, we want to get to we want to get to everyone as quickly as we can. So there is no cause of lag, unfortunately. There is no singular cause that is something we can just say, well, we found it. We found it. Unfortunately, it would be kind of nice if that were true, but unfortunately we have not found ourselves to date in that position. So that means the solution is also going to require further investigation. Now, one of the good things is this weekend will give us a lot of good information. We know it will. And we are really looking forward to being able to see and measure really what's happening in the game world throughout the weekend. Good or bad. Good and bad is going to be the answer to that. We'll know what's going well and we'll know what is not going well and what we need to work on. Okay, what am I doing? Okay, I just need to go back to Staintusk. Gotcha. Okay, so I answered, I think, that question. Are we going to do some marketing to coincide with a coupon rollout to attract new users? Well, we are expecting it to be a very busy time that will, at least at some point in the process, include such activity.
Staintusk howls in triumph. Yar Yar is dead. The Banshee is avenged. 3 cheers for our bonny rescuers.
I get asked this question sometimes. Ungermax wants to know what sort of race I would like to see added to the game. As a player, not a staff member, I have to admit, often when it comes to both this question and the question of classes and the question of enhancement trees, I've tended to find just I'll just take a back seat and let the devs do what they want to do, and that's fine. I don't have, especially these days, I can't think of anything like I'm super jonesing for. Like, there's a part of me that thinks like Goliath or something could be really cool, but also I'm okay without it, I think. So I don't know. There's a bunch. I'm generally pretty happy with my current options because they cover what I would likely play. But I'm always down for whatever people want. What did I see cool-wise at Gen Con? Nothing too much that I feel like sharing. I picked up a cool card game for myself. Kind of a family card game for maybe older single digits and above. And it's called like Catastrophic Cats or something like that. That looked fun. I saw a bunch of really great board games, like always. But nothing that I have to Jones out on right now. But it was cool. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Is there another Chill Lamania coming next week or the week after? That is a good point. It is worth remembering that we did, in fact, have our Lamania this past week, which was our first quest and landscape preview as well. Uh-oh. What happened to my... Where's my Feywild Muse? Here we go. Oh, I forgot about this giant wand. Yeah, so I actually did do this. I actually did do this whole thing on stream a while back. You know what? I'm not going to play this quest though right now. I don't have the brain power to do this one. Let me recall out and pick a different quest, something that's much lower brain power. Because I remember I ended up doing that, and I've only got 20 minutes left, so I'm not going to redo the thing that I did in the stream not that long ago. Oh yeah, I cannot look up right now. I cannot look up our Lamania schedule right now because of reasons. So, because I cannot do that, I can't tell you what our Lamania plan is. Alright, here I'll be fine. I say. Let's find out. Okay. Do you have to submit a customer service ticket to, quote, change a guild name? It depends on whether you have a change name token available to your guild. Anytime your guild gets renamed, you will get a change name token. And when you get a token like that, you can just change your name. However, if you didn't undergo a name change, then yes, you would need to contact customer support currently to get that addressed. Eventually, that's something we intend to offer just as like an item in the DDO store or something. But for now, we don't currently have that hooked up as an in-game item. So eventually, though, we will have a guild name change thing and remove this customer support barrier to it. But But for now, that is true. However, there are ways. It's not easy right now, but there are ways you can sort of force a name change. Say, if you're on a 32-bit game world in particular right now, and you're heading to a 64-bit world, you can create a placeholder name, force a name change, and then change it to what you want. In the future, when we do these 64-bit to 64-bit rotations, you'll be able to get the job done yourself from a technical capacity over the course of a couple weeks. Because let's say you transfer from Shadowdale to Thrain, force the rename yourself, and then when it comes back from Thrain to Shadowdale, you can transfer back over, or you can do it the reverse. You know, whatever. So there will be an option in the future to solve this problem yourself as well, although a little bit of a hacky kind of workaroundy one. And then eventually we'll have something like a store item for it as well. Well, we got news about the Fae event. Well, we really don't have anything we can share today about that. We've been busy just on other things, getting our expansion, Shield of Ravenloft, ready to release later this month, and then largely game performance and lag and transfers has been our utmost top priority for a number of weeks now, but particularly over the past 7 to 14 days has been all hands on deck, as they say. I would expect to see another Lamania before the expansion releases. So I bet there's one either next week or the week after. But I don't, maybe not. There's also a fun known issue I can tell you about that I already know about for the release of the expansion. It's fun for me, anyway, which is that we don't have some Dungeon Master voiceover text for Dungeon. It was only partially recorded, and the next recording session isn't until something like I don't know, a month or so from after release for the raid. And so they asked if I could record some placeholder lines. And I did. So for a few weeks here when we release, I'm going to have some DM voiceover work in one of the new dungeons. But then it'll go away, and a professional voice actor will presumably do a much better job. But for now, it was fun. It was a fun little pounce, as they say. And just going in there and getting that done. Is there a maximum character limit to a guild name? Yes. I don't know what it is, though. But eventually you're going to run into a character limit, for sure. I know that we have at least some voiceover done for some future sentient gems, or at least in some state of being done. But I don't know what the timing plan or the distribution of those sentient gems might be. If you have 2 open tickets about a guild name change, you could probably close one of them, assuming the other ticket is just a duplicate. And you could even reply with your other ticket number. Say, hey, I'm closing this one. The ticket I'll work with you on is X number. And then they'll just look it up from there. But they can probably sort it themselves. $20 characters? That could be. I mean, that's for a guild name. I think think I've seen some pretty long guild names, so that might be above 20, but maybe not. Maybe not. Doesn't get much more edgelord than Black Razor. Is that a Black Razor joke? It's a pretty good one. I would be loath if you're able to bypass a character limit through a change name command, for example. I don't know that I would feel that it's a wise idea to try to force a longer character limit than the system typically requires. Now, we should probably fix that bug, but probably don't want to do that. There's probably a reason it's in place. Lamordia challenges. I mean, it has been a while since we've done anything like challenges. They're pretty somewhat what, almost 15-year-old tech at this point. I think in general we've used the challenge technology for events as really what we're more likely to continue to do, rather than make a whole new set of challenges. I don't know in general that they're our most successful content. I think given limited resources, I'm not sure challenges is what people would like to see us do. But on the other hand, the idea of a Lamordia challenge pack is not bad. Not bad. That could be real good. That could be real good. More ways. So as someone who's really been kind of working to level up this character finally on Caneth crafting, I kind of feel that pain. Although I would say that the work that Lich did a while back now certainly sped up the Caneth crafting level ability. You could level up Caneth crafting without too much difficulty these days. And then it's really more of an ingredients collection. And so ways to get more Caneth, like specifically usable Caneth collectible ingredients sounds good. Someday I think a even more comprehensive review and work on Caneth crafting could be warranted. I could see, for example, rather than having 1,000 different crafting widgets, you maybe just say Caneth crafting level 1, Caneth crafting level 2, Caneth crafting whatever, right? And sort of so you could have the collectibles be whatever they are, but they're just, you don't have the, well, what do I need to use Dusk Trumpets for versus, you know, Chipmunk Funk, which I recognize as a green steel ingredient, but I wanted to say Chipmunk Funk. So I remember something about the VIP token for collectibles, but I don't really remember what happened with that. Is that in the current VIP list? I'd have to look. It's been too busy a couple of months here. I don't remember where we landed on that, as they say. Did we actually put that out? Or is it that it's not working, or is it that it never made it through Lamania? I don't remember which one it is. Right now it only gives... Oh, that's right, right. It only gives the rares, and it makes more sense for them to be commons because they would be more usable that way. Yeah. I do remember that now. Okay, yeah. Yep. That is, if I recall, work that has either been done or will be done fairly soon. So I would expect to see some action on that here in the next couple of updates. Because that one is pretty widely understood. I remember that now. Yeah. We either did the work or will be doing the work, and it could be we've already done the work. So it could be in. I don't know. Well, I'll have to check if it's in for the expansion or not. There we go. Thank you. So yeah, it is month 19 of the current VIP reward track. So, well, we have until month 19 to sort it, don't we? But you're right. That's something that I think may be next. I think I don't know. North America versus the EU. I think the idea is it really is somewhat a case of it being a European Union rather than, say, a specific country, but it being more the United States rather than North America, because we wouldn't want people to think we had like Canadian servers or full North American servers. I get the feedback as to the US and EU tags, but there's also just a basic understandability thing where people are used to seeing it and understand what that means. So I think that's really as much as it is as anything. Oh, I suppose I could get my chest. If you steal the chipmunk's funk, then it ain't got no funk anymore, does it? Yeah. It's stuck just listening to easy listening. All right, well, I didn't want to run that one because it was a bit on the long side. What can I wrap up the show with? I've pretty much just run... As you can see, I'm like level 7 here, so... go. The pit. So, I don't know if I no. No is the answer. Oh, yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Oh, see? Oh, now they're gone. Well, there were some pets there. And you'll notice when you see them, they're all the enhancement tree pets. No, we'll get that. I mean, we're going to get the crafting reward being a rare token. It's called a rare token, and because there is some use for it. But you are also absolutely correct that people would prefer commons. So that's our plan, is to actually swap it over to commons here. And if it's not for the expansion here, it should be sometime not too long afterwards. Speedrun the depths isn't a bad idea. But I think I can just... we only got 10 minutes or so here, so I can just do this one. A 10-minute TOE run. That would be pretty impressive if you're able to get that done in 10 minutes. But you know, I remember though the TOE speed runs. I did that a while back, and I had it down to. It wasn't very long. I can't remember what we ended up with there, but it was something under 10 minutes, I recall. Yeah, it's the elementals really, but you can get part 1 of TOE done pretty fast. It's just after that it tends to be a little hard, and you have to skip some stuff. But there is a specific line you can do through the temple there to really speed up your process. You just, you get the earth clubs, you just freeze the earth elementals, you get the key, then you just turn in the key. You can do it real quick. I used to remember in the top of my head how to do it, and I no longer do, but... Ah. There we go. Little haste here, if you please. Yes, we will be gradually increasing the level cap, like we have been. We don't have that many unskippable cutscenes. There's only a few in the game. And I don't know. I can appreciate that some people would just like to X out, but a lot of times, especially if it involves NPC scripting in that, you kind of just want to let it play out. We don't really have that many. It's true. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, Lit Children, I know people who can run the pit within a couple minutes. I mean, it's like, what, 3.5, 4 minutes I've seen people do? So maybe it was 7, something like that. But still, a very, very low number. If you get real good at running the pit, you can just tear through that quest.
Greed and villainy has won out this day.
Oh, did I lose? Did I really lose? Oh. Well, that's what I get for... That's what I get. Outrageous. Outrageous! Alright, fine. I'll keep a closer eye on him. I did sort of let him get hit a little bit. We would love to be able to sell physical merchandise. We can make it for things like player meetups and that's really where we are on it. But I would absolutely love to have I would blow out the merch. I mean, mouse pads, t-shirts, mugs, backpacks, tote bags, vinyl records, CDs, notepads, whatever. Oh, don't forget 8 tracks? Well, I don't know about 8 tracks, but vinyl record for sure. Maybe we could do a few cassettes. You know, for the kids. So there's not a singular lag fix that's going to be in place, but one of the things we did this week is to better manage the internal server environment. You allocate various resources to things, and we found a configuration that has measurable log improvement. You know, we know that it is making a significant improvement on what had been measurable logs of significant game performance difficulty. Well, that's not to say that you're not having lag or anything, because we know that that isn't true. But that is the case that we were able to make significant progress this week as a result of that. So I think that is the more complex answer to the question of, did I talk about the cause of lag? No, kids are back into cassettes. Didn't you hear? It's true. It's true. Like, actual people under the age of 20 are running out and buying tape decks and stuff these days. It's true. My local record store has like a whole wall of cassettes now, and they can't keep them in stock fast enough. And ain't us old people buying it. Now, why kids are back into cassettes, or into cassettes which they never even grew up with, couldn't tell ya. True, though. Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely strange, but hey, why not? Why not? I got into records when I was a kid, and I guess that was sort of weird if you think about it, because that was the era of CD. I suppose it's no different.
It's the nefarious Shan, Syndicate Underlord Slab the Crusher. If he's the one after the saloon, then ending him will end the fight against the Statler brothers. Dust settles into an eerie quietness.
Yay.
Sean Syndicate attackers have fallen. You and the Statler brothers are left standing.
I think it has to do with the fact that kids like understand the Spotify playlist, and what's the analog equivalent of the Spotify playlist? It's the audio cassette, that mixtape. I think really that's really all it is it's sort of like old person physical media, but kind of like the world of music listening they know. So, but that ain't about DDO. We don't have portable cassette decks in DDO yet. Otherwise, sure. The final question: I have not heard about anything further in our future planning for a Reaper adjustments. I would expect to see something like that happen, but really, for now, our focus is on game performance, reopening transfers, welcoming a whole bunch of people back to the game, solving these lag issues, and getting that done as quickly as possible. Getting through the end of the month here, make sure as many people as can transfer off the 60 or the 32-bit game worlds and launch a solid, stable foundation for the game long term here on our 64-bit game worlds. Those are our highest priorities, along with releasing Chill of Ravenloft, which we'll have more information about soon. So longer term planning about Reaper and that, just kind of not on our radar on this Friday. At now 5:07, so I'm going to call it a show. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll be back next week with more. This does go up on YouTube. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, giving me a thumbs up is the easiest way to spread the word about the show and let me know you enjoy me putting it there. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great weekend in DDO. I'll probably be seeing you in game, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.